Hey folks, hope you're all doing well and welcome to episode 13 of Recommend an Album to Review. Alright, so I'll recommend an album to review. The way it works is basically you guys suggest a record in the comments for me to review, something I never heard of before, generally a band I haven't covered on the channel, and I'll pick one from the list, listen to it throughout the course of the week, and then the following week, usually Thursdays, is when I post the video of me reviewing that record. Just the criteria, basically, something I haven't already listened to, something that's not in my, a record that we haven't already covered on the show, and, a single-length album, studio, nothing too crazy, something I can digest in a week's time. So there you go. So, with all that in mind, for this week, the album that was suggested to me was an album by the band Trouble, and the record is called Trouble. So, apparently this came out in 1990. So, sort of in a nutshell, this is a kind of a doomy, kind of stoner, sludgy type of band. There's a lot of Sabbath in what they do. It's I would say a pretty good record. There's a bit of variety on it, but there's some really good songs. And if you like that kind of, think early Sabbath, Ozzy era Sabbath type of guitar tones with some pretty cool riffs, then this might be down your alley. But let's go through these. Let's go through this record track by track. All right, the first track on the record is called "At the End of My Days." This is probably the most Sabbath sounding. It's kind of a mid-tempo kind of Sabbath song with, again, the doomy kind of riff. I'm trying to think of what Sabbath song it reminds me of. I mean, it's very similar to something you'd find on, I don't know, maybe Master Reality or maybe Volume 4. But really good track. And even at times that the singer doesn't sound totally like Ozzy, but sometimes he's kind of in the his vocals are in Ozzy territory. But anyways, pretty good track to start off. It's called "At the End of My Days." So let's look at track number 2. All right, this one's called "The Wolf." This one has a guitar line in it that sounds like a theme song to like an anime cartoon. That's when I hear that lead sound. That there's a melody line that runs through it that kind of sounds like that to me. Not a bad tune. There's some good parts to it. It's not one of my favorite songs on here, "The Wolf," but yeah, there you go. There's song number 2. All right, let's look at song number 3, "Psychotic Reaction." All right, "Psychotic Reaction." That's a little better song than the previous one for me. Just a big lumbering kind of mid-tempo tune. Just a good heavy rock song, basically. They put the Take Stoner on it, maybe just because of the tones of the guitar, but to me, that's just a straight up big heavy rock song. So, "Psychotic Reaction," very cool. All right, let's look at the next track, "A Sinner's Fame." All right, "A Sinner's Fame." So this one is a little kind of a slower, more of a kind of a slower, kind of heavy groove type of track. It's got a pretty good riff that goes through it. There's a lot of space on this song, so there's a lot of guitar playing that goes on, especially at the end. So yeah, some really good guitar work on it. Just kind of a little bit of a change, and that's a little slower tempo and more of a groove, but not a bad song. "Sinner's Fame," pretty good. All right, let's move on to "The Misery Shows," Act 2. All right, "The Misery Shows," Act 2, 7 minutes and 21 seconds. This is a bit of an epic. It starts off really nice, some real acoustic, acoustic-y guitars and things. It kind of gives me a little bit of a Pink Floyd vibe, and that kind of runs through it, and then it gets real heavy and doomy at the end. So it's a nice change up at the end. It's their epic track on here. It's really entertaining because of the different parts on it, and Again, the guitar playing on this track is really, really good. So yeah, it's one of the better tracks on here. Like, you know, their opus, if you will, in this record. The Misery Shows Act 2. All right, next track, R.I.P. All right, R.I.P. A lot of Iommi type riffing in there, some heavy guitar chugging. Not a bad track. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. But there you go. Not a lot to say about that song. Now it's getting to a point in the record where I'm starting to hear too much similarity from track to track. Because R.I.P. sounds already similar to some other earlier songs in here. But this is, and I'll talk more about this in a bit, but this is kind of the point where, you know, okay, I've already heard that before. As a listener, this is the point in the record where I want to hear something a little different. So let's see how that goes. The next track is called Black Shapes of Doom. All right, and they deliver Black Shapes of Doom. They changed it up. It's a quicker tune. It's an up-tempo tune. It's actually a pretty good riff tune. Yeah, it's a good song, and it's a nice change up from that kind of dirgy thing that they're doing for the most part on this record. So that's how, as a listener, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear change ups, you know, not the same thing for 10 songs, and they delivered on this track. All right, Heaven on My Mind is next. I have it on my mind, another kind of up-tempo, kind of chuggy song. It's not bad. It's okay. Doesn't really freak me out too much. The next one is called, I don't know, END. All right, E dot N dot D dot the end. Yeah, this track does nothing for me. This one I don't like. All the other ones are okay. This one is just got a real repetitive. It's just not musical enough for me. But it's got a repetitive riff that runs through it. The vocal line doesn't really do a hell of a lot. It just kind of sits there. So this is the one bad song. Next track and the last track, All Is Forgiven. All right, so the closing track, All Is Forgiven. This is a little over 5 minutes. This is another kind of epic song. It's got 2 parts to it. It's got some really nice melody. On the latter part, starts off like kind of an up-tempo, heavier song, and then it's got this more melodic part with this nice guitar motif that runs through it. So it's a great way to close the record. All right, so my final thoughts. Well, you've got about 11 songs. Well, you have 11 songs on here. I'd say 4 are like good to great, 4 are okay, and then there's 3 that are not so hot. So a ranking out of 5, I don't know, maybe a 3 out of 5. You know, they sound a lot like Sabbath. I hear, you know, the guitar tones are very Sabbathy, the riffs are Sabbathy. At times the singer even sounds like Ozzy. At times, it does not an Ozzy clone or anything, but anyway, you know, it's decent. It's not great. If you like sort of stoner sludge metal, like that, you know, that kind of 70s Sabbath, you might enjoy this record. But yeah, that's my take on it anyway. So if you want to recommend another album to review, throw that in the comments. I try to do these again once a week, every Thursday. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for support of this series. So we're up to episode 13 today. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.